Hello, I'm Flora.
And I'm Wan Ting.
And welcome to another episode of
Go With The Flo.
Hey!
Flo, what are you doing?
Will you eat them?
You mean the ants?
They are apparently very nutritious, you know.
No.
Can insects and ants be Singapore's answer to a food alternative? What about other foods that we can consume and reduce our ecological footprint at the same time?
I guess we can go find out. Let's go.
What's the future of Singapore's food sustainability and security? Some businesses have turned to alternative meat sources as the answer. We speak to Shiok Meats to find out if cell-based meats can be one of them. Nanyang Technological University Professor William Chen also tells us why is it important to explore other sources of meat.
Hi Sandhya. So could you tell us how and why did cell-based meat food products come about?
The whole world is sort of going through this place where we have to rethink the way we eat food, and we are going to be 10 billion in population in the next couple of decades.
So we see a increase in demand for food. So relying on traditional farming conditions will not be sustainable. Why? Because first, this climate change. Traditional farming, including agriculture and livestock farming, all are contributing to this climate change.
The idea of cell-based meats was brought up by a professor in the Netherlands a couple of years ago. His name is Prof. Mark Post, and he came up with the first cell-based hamburger. Me being a stem cell scientist, I think I was very intrigued, started getting obsessed with it, and over the years decided that I want to start my own cell-based meat and seafood company.
There might be concerns about how ethical the process is. So to those who say that it might be animal cruelty as well, what would you say to that?
So there is no animal cruelty here because it's made from the stem cells. And we don't keep taking stem cells from animals. So stem cells are actually frozen down like in a freezer, and stem cells can be used over and over again. Much like how you make yogurt or sourdough using starter culture, right? We have a big bioreactor or the stainless steel vessel filled with the nutrient broth. We add a little bit of stem cells to it, and the stem cells grow in larger numbers, and then they form the meat. You can take a little bit back from that and add it to a new vat of nutrient mix. One stem cell or one shrimp can make millions of shrimp.
I feel the idea of sustainability then it stretches out so far and so much longer.
Yeah, exactly. So the idea is never to go back to the animal, and whatever animals you will be growing or you see in the ocean will just be for the ocean and not for human consumption.
What would you say to those who fear that this may be fake meat because it's produced in the lab?
So first of all, it's not fake meat. So I think we have had to clarify that quite a bit. Actually, if you take our piece of meat to the cell DNA level, it's actually real meat. It's not fake or synthetic.
Specifically on cell-based protein, what are the challenges of producing these large scale to the population?
The cost right now for cultivated meat is still very high. And also we need to sort of support the infrastructure build up so that we also need to train more people, right? Okay, so talent development is key for the sustainable food security.
Can I ask something about cost? Because I think,
Sure.
if it's going to be a commercial product, a lot of people will be worried about the cost of this product. Will it be higher than getting your normal seafood from the market?
Yes.
So how does this compare?
So the price is still high right now because we are still in R&D phase and we have to go into manufacturing. So as we transition from the laboratory scale to an actual manufacturing scale, the prices will go down. And also the more we produce over the years, economies of scale, more demand, more supply, so prices will go down.
Thank you Sandhya for sharing with us about cell-based technology and the future of food.
Sure, it was my pleasure being here, and thank you very much.
Another alternative food source which is known for its high protein content is none other than insects. While the idea of consuming them might induce a gag reflex, one company has found a way to harvest them as a sustainable food source.
Hi Nash, could you tell us the inspiration behind Asian Insect Farm Solutions?
Because the insects kind of tick quite a few check boxes, sustainable, scalable, and more importantly can be farmed indoors, ideal for countries like Singapore where land is a limitation. So we saw the potential for that, and we were quite aware of Singapore's challenges with food waste and food production as well. And insects being one of those solutions. Over 2 billion people eat insects all over the world, and so we thought, hey, this is something that could be done. And that's how we started the company.
How about insects? Can they replace the nutrients that are found in traditional meat?
Insects are a very attractive alternative protein source. As a matter of fact, insect, the nutrition profile is very similar to animal. The idea is fantastic, but we need to fine-tune the practice because we are what we eat. The toxic stuff, heavy metals, contaminants will accumulate in insects, which will pass down the food supply chain into us. Yeah. So it's important to feed the insect the right food.
You know, we have the good agricultural practices, the GAP certification, GMP, which is good manufacturing practices. We also send the products for lab testing. So we test it for heavy metals. I mean, we go the extra mile. We test for heavy metals, pesticides. You know, we even test the feed that is used for the crickets.
So like when people talk about crickets and all, they think about the ikagui stuff, then how do you overcome the challenge of giving that good, in a way, perception of what insects are edible?
We realized very early on that people, especially those who have not eaten it before, they're very worried when they look at the original form of the insect. They look at it and they're not quite sure whether they should eat it. You know, when you change the form of the insect, so in this case you make cricket powder out of it, or even any other insect, mealworm powder or buffalo worm powder, and you use it as a food ingredient with other food products, then people don't really see the insect anymore, and then it's a lot more easier to convince them to try because what they see in front of them is a very familiar food product. So example like cookies, right? If they give you a chocolate cookie, the first thing that comes to your mind is it's a chocolate cookie, it's safe, I can eat it, I've eaten it before, and that kind of lowers their inhibitions into wanting to try the product. So that's one way we have done it, and of course choosing the right type of food, things that people want to eat is also important.
Thank you, Nash, for giving us a deeper insight to these little creepy crawlies and this edible food source.
Thanks for having me, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Nash.
So Wan Ting, after hearing from all of our food experts, will you eat alternative foods?
Cell-based meat, probably, but insects, maybe no.
What if I cook for you?
You will cook?
Challenge accepted. Don't miss Chef Flo in action.